Hello everyone, I'm Brian, welcome back. Let's go ahead and continue.
Treat. So the cause and the effect are the same. Okay? Any questions? Any questions so far? Good. We'll do another 10 minutes and we'll be done. 1 hour and 15 minutes will be enough because it's heavy stuff. We've got to contemplate. Good. When we are born in oppressive and wretched conditions, this is the wheel of sharp weapons returning full circle upon us from wrongs we have done. Till now we have always had a negative outlook. We have criticized others, seeing only their flaws. Hereafter, let's cultivate positive feelings and view our surroundings as stainless and pure. So, are we born in oppressive and wretched conditions? Oppressive and wretched doesn't mean a third world country where you have no food and you're near toxic water only. Oppressive conditions can be in the middle of Hollywood, in the middle of New York, France, Tokyo, whatever, in Hong Kong, and you're in beautiful places, beautiful people, beautiful parties, everything wonderful, best cars, best food, and you're unhappy, and you feel it's plastic, and you're stuck, and you're forced to participate but you don't want to. That's oppressive and wretched conditions also. Because wretched and oppressive is subjective. Whatever makes our mind suffer is an oppression. So therefore, this comes from what? The negative outlook we have about people around us. Does it mean they don't have negative qualities? No. Everyone has negative qualities that can change. But to focus on that and to hurt them with it and to get them back with it is the karma that comes back, that we are oppressed in wretched conditions. So therefore, from now on, we hold our tongues, our criticisms, our sharpness, and we view everything around us as stainless and pure. It does not mean things are stainless and pure. It means to look for the best in everyone and to bring them happiness. That's what it means. So when we practice that, what happens? Our speech becomes more controlled. One facet of our speech becomes controlled. Then this leads to our mind becoming calmer. When our mind becomes calmer, we're more accepting and tolerant. This creates happiness for others and ourselves. Our relationships with people become better. Why does it become better? We become more tolerant. Some people might turn it around and say, hey, you're just lowering your standards. No. Lowering your standards is when you allow selfishness to run your day. Because your standards should not be selfishness. Your standards should be your true nature, compassion, wisdom, love, tolerance.
It's really weird when it says tolerance, ever since Osho talking about how tolerance is not a good thing. Trying to think of what my perspective is of tolerance. I understood Osho. Tolerance is putting up with something that you do not like. But then at the same time, if you are above your feelings, or above this emotion, you're not tolerating anyone, perhaps. But I was thinking whenever he said that he was saying something along the lines like "hold your tongue." I'm quoting because I don't know what it says verbatim, but it's along the lines of like, you don't just speak your mind. Kind of hold bad things, bad thoughts. Don't speak it out. But I'm wondering if he means more along the lines like don't just automatic react to something. Like if someone says something and then you just spew out something, and it can very well be a bad thing. You may not actually mean what you say because you're in the moment. Your emotions gotten the better of you, and perhaps the reason why you want to kind of hold your tongue is to think about what happened first and think about it in a positive way. It's really weird to say that because if someone was clearly rude to you, there is almost no positive thing to look at that. What you could look at it as in maybe that person's suffering. That's not necessarily a positive thing, but you can understand the reason why probably they're having this outrage or this backlash or whatever it may be. It's anger towards you. It's like, well, maybe he's having a bad time. He's having a bad day. And you're like, well, I don't need to be bad. I don't need to get angry at him because he was angry at me. He's very much, his emotion, his anger has gotten to him, and I should feel compassionate towards him. It's like, hey man, if you're having a bad day, I get it. And maybe he'll just get more mad. Maybe he'll like, yeah, I'm sorry, man. I just didn't mean to lash out at you, kind of deal. So if he lashed at you and you lash back, that's just solving no problems. If he lashed at you and you kind of think about it, it's like, hey, wait, I didn't do anything bad towards him. Maybe he's just having a bad day. And that's the way I generally look at things too. If someone's mad, I'm like, oh geez, someone's having a bad day. I just keep moving on. I'll kind of laugh and ignore the person, or I'm just like, I try not to. I don't get mad at them because I know they're not. Because I did nothing wrong, so it's like, why are you mad at me, kind of deal.
And when you act opposite of that, you are lowering your standards. So hence, Dhammarakshita is telling us here very kindly, look at everything as stainless and pure. Then, when we are parted from friends and those who can help us, when we are parted from friends and those who can help us, this is the wheel of sharp weapons returning full circle upon us from wrongs we have done. Till now we have taken their friends and good servants of others away, wanting them for ourselves. Hereafter let's never cause close friends to part. So when we experience loss, people going away, how has our actions and our speech contributed towards that? Dhammarakshita is telling us. To counter that, make people close. Repair people's relationships. Make husband and wife love each other. Make friends love each other. Make siblings love each other. Make parents and children love each other. Do your best to be the peacemaker. Do your best to create harmony in people around you. Do your best to make people close. When you do that, you create the karma to always have people around you to support you and love you and help you, even if you don't want it. It's cause and effect. When supreme and holy gurus find us displeasing, this is the wheel of sharp weapons returning full circle upon us from wrongs we have done. Till now we have turned from the gurus and teachings, preferred the counsel of misleading friends. Hereafter let's end our dependent relations with those who would turn us away from the path. What is that saying? Whatever we do, our holy teachers or holy people, real people, find us displeasing. It could be even parents, good friends. Whatever we do good, really we did good, they find it displeasing. They can't see what we've done. They see the opposite of our intentions. That is the karma coming back from us following people who give us wrong advice as opposed to right advice. So when we follow people with wrong advice and we go that path, we create the karma that in the future, when a person comes to tell us good things, we hear it as wrong. And we turn away. So in this case, it's saying, when your teachers tell you something, you don't listen, and you follow misleading friends, then in the future, whatever you do, your teacher will always see whatever you do as displeasing. That's the karma coming back. Okay? So from now on, that's a very good question. By learning more Dharma. How will we stop a rampant disease in an area? By learning how the disease arises. Example. Clean out the toxic waters. Don't have any waste foods around. People who are already sick, put them in what's that called, isolation. Get medication. Clean water, clean environment. So if we learn how to get rid of the sickness in that area, we learn that we know how. But simply by saying, I don't like this disease, I don't like what's happening, and only wish that and get frustrated by that and never learn how to remove it, doesn't happen. So in your case, it's very good. Right now, it won't be fully possible for you to not listen to misleading friends. But if you study the Dharma, that's what we're doing right now. Already you're gaining some wisdom. So if you use the Dharma as a benchmark, you will be able to see what is misleading and not. And misleading friends sometimes don't even have bad intention. They also don't know. Correct? They also don't know. They don't even mean it. That's why we just drag each other down. So when you're near a teacher, you have a Lama, and you learn the Dharma, it's not the Lama that you worship. It's not the Lama you need to put in your suitcase and drag around. It is the Dharma teaching you receive, go back, contemplate, and put it in your mind. And then your mind changes. So your question is very relevant, but the truth is right now you can't fully. But if you learn Dharma more, you'll be able to. You'll be able to not judge them, but discern. And instead of them pulling you down, you can bring them up. I can hang around anyone in KL. They're never going to make me disrobe. I can go to LA and hang out with the biggest of the big, and I will in the future. They're not going to bring me down. They're not going to make me disrobe. They're not going to get me drunk. They're not going to make me do drugs. They're not going to get me to do anything that they may think is good. They may truly think those things are good from their heart, but you can put me anywhere in the world. No one will drag me down. Is it because I'm so above it, I'm so holy? No. No, no. Because for the last 30 years, I've received teachings from my Lama. I've trained myself to know what will bring harm to myself and others and what I should avoid. So I've trained for so many years, that's why I'm still wearing this in front of you. If I failed in my training, like I said, we'd be doing a movie together. Maybe we might in the future, but in my robes. But seriously, it's not a judgmental thing. It's a logical thing. So if I go with a group of people to clubs and all that stuff, you won't see me doing what they do. But neither will I judge them. But when I get them the next day sober, I give them a little Dharma talk. And maybe help them. Which I tried. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. Alright? So basically, we're going to stop here because all of you are new and a little bit at a time is very good. So go back and contemplate. I guess what I want to share with you tonight is Dharma, what Buddha taught, is very deep, very profound, and very enlightening. But the key to Dharma is this, is not to take it as a beautiful words, beautiful book, beautiful things that soothes the mind, but to apply it. If we don't apply it, it remains as beautiful words, and we're still angry. That's the key. And Buddhism does believe and take refuge in an outer powerful being, a Buddha, Buddhas. But the refuge in an outer powerful being is not to save us or to help us or to rescue us. It is the first step of us rescuing ourselves. No God, no deity, no religion, no Lama, no teacher, no pastor, no priest, no bishop, no monk can save us, help us, take anything away from us. If they could, Buddha would have taken everything away. That's unhappy. But monks, teachers, friends, Dharma practitioners can share the Dharma with you from their heart, honestly, logically, in your language, meaning layman's language. And if you think about it, your minds will turn.
I guess what he's saying there, which I think is something that I've heard around. It's like you can't help someone who don't ask for help. And basically, essentially, it's the only thing you can do is like tell them, teach them, but they have to do it themselves. Because obviously, you can help them a little bit, but if they don't do it themselves, then they're going to end up falling back again. I think it's something along those lines. How I was teaching, and I get it. Like, you know, like someone's a drug addict, you know, you can keep them away from the drugs for a little bit. You can teach them how to reduce their usage to get out of dependency, but they themselves have to do it. No matter how someone else helps you, ultimately they have to do it. And if they choose not to, then no matter how much you try to help them, it's not going to work. So ultimately the decision's up to the individual to do it or not. I believe, I know this is my perspective from that. But this is how I'm understanding how he's saying this as well. Yeah, you can help as many people as you want. Ultimately, they make the decision.
Turn from what? From bad to good? No. From this habit to another habit that creates happiness. Whatever unhappiness we created, definitely we don't want. Who wants unhappiness? Whatever unhappiness we have created came 100% from our own ignorance. How do we eradicate that ignorance? We don't get dragged down. Learning the Dharma. Think of a person who is educated and not educated. There's a big difference. So therefore, if we want to know more, be more, practice more, and make a difference in our lives and the lives of others, learn the Dharma first. You don't have to do serious study like in the monasteries, like what we're doing right now. There's internet, read. Ask questions. Learn. Contemplate. Get information. Get information to know how to fight your enemy, yourself. Mm-hmm. If we continuously think our enemy is on the outside, our uncontrolled states of rebirth and unhappiness will continue. If we continuously think that our enemy is on the outside, then our uncontrolled states of rebirth and uncontrolled states of mind of unhappiness will continue. If we recognize the enemy is on the inside, our unhappiness doesn't stop, but it's the first step toward unhappiness to stop. So Buddhism is very reflective and inner and very deep because it makes us take responsibility. And that's the hardest thing in life. To take responsibility, to make that step. Why? Habits are hard to break. And we're happy being unhappy. A lot of us are very happy being unhappy.
I wouldn't say that. I would say it's much easier to be unhappy. It's so much harder to be happy. So basically, you could say like a person who has a weight issue. You know, it's easier just to eat than to diet. So they're unhappy because it's just easier.
And not even knowing it. So this is how we get teachings from our teacher in the past, 30 years of it. Today I share it with you one of my most favorite teachings, the mind training teachings. And the mind training teachings in this case is from the lineage of Dhammarakshita down to Atisha. And then Atisha to Dromdongpa down eventually to Lama Tsongkhapa. Then to my teachers and to me. So today I share with you one of the most precious teachings of Tibet, in short and little. These books are for you as a gift. Please go back and read through those. You may think, well, I may not understand everything. It doesn't matter. Better to understand 30% than none. Go back and read it. Dharma books are precious. For you later. When we receive a Dharma book, when we have a Dharma book, we make sure our hands are clean. We touch it on our forehead and revere the contents. Then after finish reading it, we touch it to our foreheads. Why do we touch our foreheads? May the contents and meaning come to me. Then we always keep it in a high place, in a clean place. We don't throw it here, throw it there. If we keep it on shelves, we should keep it with other Dharma books or separate. We don't keep it with secular books. Why? These are books that bring you to enlightenment and higher states of mind. So your Harley Davidson magazines could be separate. They bring you to nowhere. So Dharma books. I have a shelf like in the jungle right now, in my little room. I have a shelf. The bottom part's for my secular books, my ghost stories and all that. I love it. But on the top, I put Dharma books. The Dharma books should never be stepped on or thrown on the floor or stepped over. When we show that, why? Dharma books are more precious than Buddha statues. Dharma books give us knowledge. Buddha statues at our level cannot speak to us. So what we want is knowledge. Knowledge creates the Buddha within us. So therefore Dharma books are very great treasures. That's why in Buddhism, sponsors love sponsoring Dharma books. The more books they sponsor that people can get, when they read, people get knowledge, they transform. They change society by sponsoring books. Okay, so this is a wonderful, precious Dharma book. That's one of my favorites for the last 20 years plus. So today I'm very happy to be able to give you a little bit of explanation on this. And these are mind training teachings which are directly related to bodhicitta, which is the first word you told me, and related to a bodhisattva's way of life. What is a bodhisattva's way of life? A bodhisattva is a person who aspires to live for others as opposed to for themselves. So a person who lives for others as opposed to themselves, or aspires to be, is living a bodhisattva's way of life. And a bodhisattva's goal is to achieve bodhicitta. And bodhicitta is the mind that never moves, from benefiting others. This is the first step. Any questions? Any questions?
Okay, so let me see here. It's really weird to hold the book such in high regards. I understand the tapping of the head, and when you're reading and tapping again, obviously you don't want to mistreat your books. I mean, you pay for them sometimes, and they hold great information, generally speaking. And I understand the reason for tapping the head, I guess, is to get you into the mood. It's kind of like a ritual that you do to do something. Like before playing any kind of sport, you stretch. In a sense, that's a ritual, even though it's something that gets your muscles ready to to run or whatever it is the sports is. And it's something that you do every day. When you do it, your body kind of gets into, okay, it's game time, So, you doing the ritual of tapping on your head, it becomes part of like I said, a ritual that gets your mindset into the mood. Obviously, the first time you do it, it's probably not going to happen. It's going to take a couple tries to do it, much like warming up. When your body first is like, what the heck is going on? Why am I sore? We're stretching here. But yeah, your body's not going to, if you first time stretching, your body's going to be like weirded out. And it's going to be like, oh man, I'm stretching and my muscles sore already. Obviously it's going to take time to get into the mood. Eventually stretching becomes natural, and when you stretch, your body knows it's going to get into that really heavy usage of sports. Same thing with just the tapping of your head or some type of ritual, whatever it may be. I believe Lakhani, I know, talks about developing actually Swami Sarvapriyananda also talks about like getting a little corner in a room where you do a specific time of day, you go there for 10 minutes, then up it for 15-30. It's a way to get your body into that mode. It's something that's, I don't know, pretty, I want to say typical, but it's something that it's a good idea. It's a habit. Our bodies, I think, are very habitual, or if that's the right word to use, where we get into habits of things. And the more that we're in a habit of something, the easier it is to do, because it's just something that we do. Getting into a new habit is very hard. Now, unless it's addiction, that's different. But yeah, I mean, obviously, you don't want to step on the book. I mean, you might destroy it. I wish I wouldn't mind getting the book just to read what it's about and its content. And there's something else. Oh, I don't know if this is the end. I'll save it for the end, just in case.
Good. We got little scholars here now. Yes, of course you do. Paris is famous for questions. She's been questioning me for years. Go ahead.
Within each verse, as to each cause, the effects would again vary depending on the person, right?
Yes.
We're acting to as a guru.
Yes.
To a sangha or to
definitely.
Definitely. The rectification would change as well.
The rectification and the results would change, but you take this as generalities. So if you speak this way, you create this cause. If you act this way, you create this. If you treat others with disrespect and always treat them badly and look at them lowly, in the future you will be oppressed. You will be always in a situation where you have no control of your time and yourself. So of course, if you do that to a highly realized being, it would be even worse. It could be the 3 lower realms. So you take that as a general way of following karma. Do you understand? But if you do that with a good motivation, example, Marpa totally oppressed Milarepa. All right? But instead of both of them suffering, they both became Buddhas. Because the motivation is different. This is general. General public, general ignorance, general. All right? There's always exceptions. This is a good question, actually. There are always exceptions. Okay? Good. Any other questions? Good. Let's do a dedication.
Okay. I'm not going to play this part because if you want to hear it, you have to hear it yourself. I'm going to pause and listen to it myself. But real quick, just in case this is in fact the end of the video, I will come back. Actually, I will come back and say it. So I'll be right back. Okay, so there's still a little bit more to it. So let's go ahead and play it.
That's very good.
Still
Oh. What do weapons do to us? They hurt us. If a weapon cuts us, stabs us, penetrates us, doesn't it hurt us and damage us? Okay, so that's one weapon. Imagine a wheel, and every part is a weapon. Every part you touch, you cut yourself, and you hurt yourself. The wheel of sharp weapons is likened to our ego and anger. That whatever we do with it, in whatever situation, we hurt ourselves with it.
It's actually both way, or?
So the wheel of sharp weapons is not actually a wheel of sharp weapons. It is symbolic of how our ego and anger hurts us and everybody around us constantly. So it's like a wheel of weapons, where if it's just one weapon, if we grab here, we'll be safe. But if we grab here, we'll be cut. If it's a wheel, wherever we grab, we get cut. So ego, anger, selfishness, self-centered mind is likened to a wheel of sharp weapons where it always comes back to us. So if I'm nasty to him and very mean and cheat him, I get that immediate satisfaction, but it will return back to me and get me more.
I can't believe she actually thought of it. I don't know, I couldn't hear what you said, but it's whenever he explained it this way a little bit, I always understood always a metaphor, but the way I explained it here, the wheel of sharp weapons as being your ego, your anger, or whatever. Yeah, obviously, if you use your ego, the wheel of sharp weapons, it's going to hurt you. If you use your anger, the wheel of sharp weapons, it's going to hurt you. It's essentially bad karma. And anything that's bad, you're using the wheel of weapons, the wheel of the sharp weapons. You don't want to use the wheel of sharp weapons to present yourself, to do things in life, because you will not only hurt yourself but other people. I'm saying it the way I understood it.
So wheel of sharp weapons is actually likened to the return of karma. Karma coming back. So it's not an actual wheel. Okay?
Like a wheel, is it both way? Or?
Yes. So wheels do what? They turn. They turn, they rotate. So this rotates back to us. I guess the name of the book is very sharp because it's telling us where our pain comes from, where our problems come from.
I mean, he did say earlier it's like a boomerang too. And boomerangs tend, the idea is boomerangs return. Wheels don't really return, but I mean, I guess they can return if you drive it over there and they drive it back. But I get what the idea is that no matter where you touch it or that the fact that you use it, you get hurt, and you'll hurt other people with it, and in some sense, it's like a boomerang that returns back.
From ourselves. That's right. And as I was telling Allison just now, if we have just a sword, we can avoid getting cut if we just hold on to the handle, right? But if it's a wheel full of swords, it's going to be pretty hard, isn't it? So what is that telling us? With ego and self-centeredness, it's pretty hard to avoid getting back pain. Deep, isn't it? It's pretty hard to avoid getting back problems and giving problems. Because ego is like a wheel of sharp weapons. And the karma that arises from that is like a wheel of sharp weapons.
I'm wondering if they just need it like phrased in a different way. The best way probably would be I don't know. I don't know how else I would explain that to them. Because in terms of like material, like the boomerang, obviously if you throw it and you hit someone, it's not going to fly back at you, it's going to hit the ground. But, yeah, I don't know how to explain that. I mean, I'm trying to think on the spot here, so I'm sure if I pause and think about it, I could think of something to say to them. But nonetheless, I mean, come on, I think they're trying to think of it so hard, and I trust me, I do too. Like, you can hold the wheels on the side, and the wheels are all around. There's the sharp weapons around the rubber. But obviously, that's not what he's trying to say. I'm dumb too. So
that explains why most of the time we're unhappy.
Because something we've done in the past has come back.
Yes. And this is the horrible thing. We didn't even know we did it. Because it's ignorance. That's why I always joke with people. We're so happy being unhappy. What does that mean? Who wants to be unhappy? So why do people stay unhappy? It seems they're happy being unhappy. It's my little own sarcasm. So real sharp weapons is likened to that. And what I want you to do is now is I don't want you to get too heavy with yourselves and say, okay, I'm going to go out and eradicate my selfishness. It's not possible. Not overnight. To remove a disease, health, sleeping, what you eat, exercise, medication, maybe surgery, all must be followed out thoroughly for potential for healing. If we do one or do two or not all, not possible. If we do all half-heartedly, not possible. So regime, exercise, sleeping, rest, food, medication, doctor, treatment, surgery, we got to do it all to get well. Similarly, just looking at the medicine that can heal you, but not taking it, you won't heal. You can have cancer, and you can hold the medication in your hands, and you go and take a picture of the doctor, and put it on the altar and worship the doctor, and offer incense to the doctor, and praise the doctor to people, and print books about the doctor, and let everybody know, but your disease still won't heal. Why? You have to internalize the medicine. With Dharma, people love the Dharma. Buddhism is the second fastest growing religion in America. Very fast. Reader's Digest. So we love the Dharma teachers. They're fabulous, they're funny, they're full of wisdom. The Dalai Lama is beautiful, he's a man of peace. We love that. We love him. Then what he talks about suits our mind. We'll pay tickets to go to stadiums, go listen to him. 40, 50, 60,000 are at his sold out Dharma talks. All over America. Easily. Every time. The last teaching he gave in America was on the front lawn of the White House. Right there, he gave teachings. We love to hear it because it suits our mind, because it's the truth. And we put Buddha statues on the altar, we offer incense, we worship. Where does it get us? It's good. It's a step. But to actually take the teachings and check our minds makes a big difference. And then applying it. That means, what does applying mean? Now you know what is the cause of your problem. Now you know. The next time you want to act in a way you know will not bring you benefit in other people, and you still act it, then you're just holding on to the medicine you like and not taking it. But the next time you know now this action will bring you unhappiness, and you fight it, and you fight yourself to not do it again, then you're taking the medicine, you're on your way to healing. So the first pill, the first chemotherapy will not heal your cancer, but if you continue. So if you give up your chemotherapy, it's pretty much giving up your life. So if you give up your Dharma practice, you pretty much give up happiness. Why? It's not acceptance or giving up of Buddhism. It's acceptance and giving up of what creates unhappiness for you, which is selfishness. So when you give up the practice of destroying selfishness, you pretty much have resigned yourself to being unhappy. So here the issue is not you accept Buddhism and you tell everybody, oh, I can't give up Buddhism, I'll go to hell if I do. It's not about that. You can practice Buddhism without being a Buddhist. It's about your actions. It's about the results. And it's about the mind that creates that. So when you give up attacking and changing that mind, pretty much you have to expect and resign to a lot of unhappiness. So we think, before I enter Dharma, how's my life been? Has it been peachy and wonderful, and I've made better and better for myself? Materially, maybe I did all right, but mentally, am I growing or degenerating? Mentally, am I growing or degenerating? That's how we must think. So therefore, admiring the doctor, the Buddha, keeping the medicine near us, the Dharma, and praising the nurses, the Sangha, will never heal our disease. We have to internalize it. We have to sleep, rest, go for treatment, take medication, surgery, follow the good doctor's orders. Then the chances of healing is very high. Therefore, we must listen to the Dharma, follow our teacher. Follow our teacher doesn't mean physically follow everywhere. Follow means the teachings you have received, internalize. Your teacher can be passed away. You can still be following your teacher very devotedly with a strong Buddha devotion. Because following your teacher is not a physical following. And whenever an afflictive emotion arises within you, face it and firmly avert it. It is very hard. Do you know why it's very hard? Because you trained yourself very well. That's all it is. So it's just a matter of retraining. Look, if we don't go to the gym for 20 years and suddenly we go, it's very painful. But after a few months, it gets better. So the mind, same thing. Your mind is not 20 years out of the gym. Your mind has been hundreds of years out of the gym. Because if you've been practicing Dharma strongly, you would have found Dharma much earlier and started much earlier. Results resemble the cause. Very simple. So therefore, today you have received some Dharma talk. It is from my heart. It is something that I've learned from my teachers. And you are alert, comfortable, able to receive. What's your job now? Think about it and apply it. For me, religion is simple. It's not about who's superior and who's right and which is the right God. For me, religion is, if you're kind and compassionate and tolerant, you're religious. If you're not, you can argue until the end of time whose God is real and whose religion is real. In the end, we just blow each other up. So for me, religion is simple. It's not about who's right and wrong. It's about what's your result. What is the result of your religious practice? Some people say, I don't need religious practice. I don't need religion to be a good person. That's true too. I accept. I accept and I believe. Because there are very good people without religion. Then you say, then why do you teach us religion at all? Because it's different for everyone. Some people need religion to become better. Some people don't. Some people need this religion. Some people need that religion. It's up to us. That's why I don't judge which religion is better or if religion is necessary at all. Hence, Buddhism can be a way of life. What's a way of life? To live our lives for others. Whether we accept the Buddha or not, the teachings remain the same. Whether we accept a Buddha or not, the teachings remain the same. If we accept the Buddha, the teachings become our potential. Meaning, we will become a Buddha. If we don't accept the Buddha, then we cannot accept the Buddha within us. If we cannot accept an outer Buddha, we cannot accept an inner Buddha exists. If we cannot accept an inner Buddha exists, we cannot become a Buddha, because we don't accept it can exist. Hence, when we practice Buddhism as a way of life, we make our lives happier, but we don't become a Buddha. When we practice Buddhism as a religion and accept the Buddha, then we accept the Buddha in us. What's the Buddha in us? The real potential in us to be a Buddha. Everybody understand that? Think for a moment. So, I will transform my mind. I will be the most beneficial person for others. I will use my life for others. I will accept hardship for others. I will accept difficulty for others. Though I will complain from time to time, I will still do it. And I will train my mind to do more. I will do this in order to transform my mind into a fully awakened state of a Buddha, so I may become a Buddha to be of even more benefit to others. Therefore, I do these practices. 1. Second, I will do these practices and transform my mind because I have made myself and others unhappy, and I wish to live the rest of my life happily And I wish everybody around me who comes into my presence to go away happy. Therefore, I will practice these teachings. 2 motivations. The first one is when you accept Buddha and practice. The second one is you take it as a way of life. Of course, accepting a Buddha and practicing is superior because why? It doesn't lead to a happy mind. It leads to enlightenment. That's the difference. So Buddhism is very, very versatile. Very. Buddhism is the only iconography, is the only image or iconography you can put everywhere that denotes peace. People put Buddha in gardens. People put Buddha in bars and clubs. Buddha bar. In Singapore, I was amazed. There was a Buddha bar. One of my friends brought me in. There's Buddhas everywhere. Very nice ones. I wanted one for my altar. Anyways, it was a Buddha bar. But what is to know peace? So it can be a way of life or religion. Okay, do you guys understand that?
I will say it's a bit weird that he said it was superior, the first way, which is to accept the Buddha as opposed to the way of life Buddha.
Any questions? For now? If you have any questions, you can let me know in the future. I will answer them, even if you're in America. Don't worry. I may not be psychic, and I can't astral travel to you, but we got email. Thank goodness. Unlike the high lamas of the past, we can astral travel and appear to you in your bedroom when your time needs us and answer your questions. I've only got email, sorry.
Okay. But I think I understand what he's saying about, being the first one superior is because you kind of fully accept everything that is what his teachings is, the Buddhist teachings. It's kind of hard to be fully into that if you don't fully follow it. So the thing I was going to say a bit earlier was he talks a lot about Dharma. So I need to find a video of his about explaining what he means by Dharma and the definition of Dharma based on his way of life. So I can understand whenever he says it, what does it mean to him. Because I don't know if it's exactly the same or if there's slight variations to it. I'm sure it's mostly the same. There may be some slight variation, but I still want to hear him talk about it so I can understand it a bit better. It seems like the teachings he has is very much karma-based, very strongly in karma-based. Actions that you take and do, your thoughts, are very much into that. But it's kind of weird that he tells you to hold your thoughts or your actions. And I'm wondering, because again, when I listen to Sadhguru's Karma book, talks about the 1,000 deaths that a person suffers. It's like, how can a person die 1,000 times? It's like, well, no, it's not literal. It's more along the lines of, did I do it right? Oh my God, did I do it right? Tomorrow, you're like, oh my gosh, did I do it right? I don't know if I did it right. 2 hours later, I'm still thinking about you're suffering because of your indecisiveness or you not maybe making the best choice or whatever that may be. You not doing your best. If you did your best, then what else can you ask for? Don't get me wrong, you can still do it wrong, but if you did your best, you won't be suffering. It's like, I tried my best. Genuinely tried your best. That's all you can really ask for. And, if you don't know, you should ask. Don't do it just things like, well, I never did surgery before, so let's go ahead and cut this person up. No, you got to learn all this stuff and then do your best. That's all you can really ask for. Yeah, you what is it? Doctors, surgeons, all these people, especially in the ER and stuff. They, I don't know if they. I'm sure some do suffer through it. It's like, oh my God, whenever someone dies, it's like, did I do the best I can? They suffer through their lack of knowledge, or I want to say lack of knowledge, sorry, their unsure decisions, I guess. I don't know how to phrase that really. A great TV show that I watched, it's called, about doctors, is Scrubs, the TV show. I really like that TV show. And an example would be is the fact that this this person had just graduated med school and had their first death. And he's beating himself up over, I must have did something wrong, I must have did something wrong. He kept looking over the papers, trying to find a way to blame himself for, it's like, this is what I did wrong. And there are other doctors out there saying, you know, you didn't do anything wrong, you didn't do anything wrong. He didn't believe them. And he continued to look for it until his mentor, until he was like really exhausted and tired. Then one of his mentors says, no, you did everything right. I would have made the same decision. And finally he accepted it. But it's the sure fact that he was suffering the entire time because, I don't want to say that's bad karma necessarily, but you get the idea that he's suffering because of a choice, an action that he made. And he could not accept the fact that, you know, it was just something that couldn't have prevented it. I'm not saying make bad decisions, but do the best you can. Be genuine about your decision and choices that you make, and you won't suffer. You won't suffer. Don't get me wrong. No matter how good you are at something, no matter how best forward foot you put, or how much you've trained in something, it doesn't always go right. But so long as you're genuinely trying to do your best, you know, you give it your best shot. Don't beat yourself up over it, as they say. Really weird talks here. Anyways, that's the end of the video. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.